Hey guys, it's Spire4 here, and today we're checking out the latest Ziigaat Horizon. This set has a very technical and detailed sound that could be described as high-end for a lot of people. This is a first tribrid attempt from Ziigaat featuring 1 DD, 2 balanced armatures, and 2 planar drivers, resulting in a high-quality, unique sound that beats a lot of IEMs at its price range. And one of its biggest competitors is the Kiwi Ears Astral. I will be comparing them right there later at the end of the video. And as usual, let's check the unboxing before we talk about the sound. And you can always watch this short after the video if you want to see a genuine unboxing of the set. So firstly in the box we get the IEMs, as you can see, beautiful faceplate. We're going to check that in details later, but I'm very impressed they actually stepped up their unboxing experience here, and this is a way better leather case than the previous one they had when I unboxed the Ziigaat Odyssey. And from the inside it has a velour feeling that is very high quality, especially with this protection design that we have inside here. Very cool. For the tips here, we have 3 sets. First of all, these black silicone tips, which are very comfortable. Another similar liquid silicone tips. These are transparent and slightly more comfortable in my opinion. And finally, a medium-sized foam tip as usual with Ziigaats. And next we have 2 metallic swappable terminations, which have really good quality actually. And it's always a plus to have swappable terminations. And finally for the cable here, it's kind of improved from the old Ziigaat cables. A lot of other IEMs at this price range offer better cables, but this one isn't tangly or bad by any chance. It still has these metallic parts from here and at the end for the terminations. Not the worst cable out there, but it could be improved at this price range. Now let's take a look at the IEMs themselves. I have different tips here for the comfort. These are the large size spin fit omnis. But first let's take a look at the faceplate here. We have a description of the horizon pretty much. As you can see, there's like a lake here, 2 mountains, and a horizon at the top. Very beautiful faceplate. This is the better looking Ziigaats in my opinion, next to the Odyssey one, which is my favorite look as well with the sparkles. But the overall shape design of the shell is very similar to the other Ziigaats out there. They don't change much in terms of the signature design. I'm going to take off this tip so you can see better. It has a relatively medium size. I wouldn't call this shell a really big shell, to be honest with you. It's just on the medium comfort size, especially with this interesting mold. They always have here these comfort grooves here at the bottom. They have a breathable here at the top. I never had any pressure building up issues with any Ziigaat IEMs before. And finally, 2-pin connector system for the cable I showed earlier. Overall, it's a really nice resin shell, has a really good solid build quality. And while the shell is not the biggest out there, the nozzle is probably on the medium to large side. So let's go ahead and measure the nozzle at the lip here, maybe 6.2. Yeah, 6.2 millimeters, which isn't bad by any means, but the nozzle length is not really too deep. It's kind of short. I just find these spin fit omnis very comfortable for this set specifically. I forgot to mention the weight of the shell. It's sitting around 4.8 grams. And now let's move on and talk about the specs. So the Horizon comes with 1 dynamic driver responsible for the bass, 2 balanced armatures for the mids, and 2 planars for the treble. And this set has a very extended treble. I can't see the frequency response at the back of the box here. For the sensitivity, it's 102 dBs, 24 ohm impedance, which, pretty low. But the most interesting part here is the frequency range that this IEM is capable to export. It's from 20 Hz up to 35,000 Hz, which is a huge spectrum actually. But obviously most people can only hear up to 17,000 Hz, let's say. We're gonna go now and talk about the sound of the Ziigaat Horizon. Alright, and looking at the frequency response here, so far it looks pretty unique. While it looks kind of bright, I see it as neutral, a little bit bright, a little bit exciting, and too detailed with a bass boost. This is how I describe the Horizon. Alright, let's start with the bass. The sub bass here region is very clean, very high quality, textured and rumbled bass, but it's not the deepest out there. It's just at the sweet spot, just how I like it. Moving on to the mid bass region here. I mean, overall the bass is like tight and very controlled, right? Really high quality, but the mid bass region might be a little bit lean, not for bass heads. It doesn't have that much slam. So I describe the bass to have lower quantity, but very good quality. It's really tight and really quick. Listening to my Old Ways, for example, by Tame, it's noticeably clean, leaving room for the BAs to do their job in the mids and planars to do their job in the treble region, as you can see. But to be honest with you, the bass compared to the Ziigaat Crescent or the Ziigaat Horizon that I reviewed a few months ago, it's just not satisfying enough and it doesn't have enough weight. So I prefer the Odyssey one and the Crescent. They just have a better, rich, and more fun bass that has, a better sense of physicality rather than speed, good quality, and low quantity, let's say. So I hope you understand my perception in this bass part. Now we move on to the mids. The mids are smooth, textured, however sometimes they're too textured in my opinion, especially at this part here for the frequency response. Some vocals sound a little too shouty, sometimes in some specific songs, not all the time guys, keep that in mind. And speaking of vocals, the male vocals have a really good body to them, however the female vocals in some songs get a little bit on the thin side, only in some tracks, okay? And I would like to make an example of the song When We Were Young. Anyways, the overall vocals have a very nice sense of distance. They're not overly forward or anything. Unlike the Kiwi Ears Astral, these have very clean, very perfect vocals, but the volume of the vocals on the Astrals are a little bit pushed back, a little bit tamed down, even though they have really good clear quality. For the Horizon, however, they have the perfect volume, louder than the Astrals and just better than the Astrals. Instruments also have a really good separation and they sound really clean, but I would like to mention that the overall timbre of the instruments is not the most natural, right? It's just a little bit colored, but in the fun side, right? On the good side. That's why I called this set a little bit exciting. So the overall BA drivers responsible here in this region did a great job making this set very unique, and I agree with people when they say this sounds like a little bit analog feeling and unique kind of sound. So yeah, I agree with that. And moving on to the treble now. The treble, I would just say that it's energetic, and some people may not like how much it's emphasized in this region, especially keeping in mind that it is very extended in this air region. The lower treble is crisp, it is very detailed. I can hear those quiet cymbals, which I could barely hear in some other sets, especially the bass boosted ones. And this air region here, as you can see, from 10,000 to 17,000, give you a sense of like airiness, and you would really enjoy this with let's say EDM type of music. And the dip here at around 6,000, 7,000 here is great and kind of helped with avoiding fatigue in this region, because you know, planar drivers that are responsible for this region could get a little bit nasally, and that's why they had to tame it down here. And other people might still EQ this, but for me, I don't mind this at all. I really like this 15,000 here peak. It's just fun to have in my opinion. And if anything, if I want to EQ this set, I would first of all put on foam tips. They just kind of balance out the sound even more, and add a little bit of body here on the bass rather than taming down the treble. So the overall treble may be a little bit too much for sensitive listeners. To me, it's great. I'm not going to touch EQ this at all, but overall it sounds a little bit artificial in some songs, a little bit exciting, not natural timbre, but that's good. That really helps improving the soundstage and imaging. And keep in mind, this is a tri-bird set, so let's move on and talk about the technicalities. And talking about the soundstage here is just relatively better than the Kiwi Ears Astral. This just has a really nice holographic depth to the soundstage. Just probably has the best soundstage out there for this price range. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it just has the best soundstage for its price. When I put on like cheaper IEMs and I listen to their soundstage, I just miss the Horizons, because this is the best I've heard, not gonna lie. Like the soundstage sometimes actually sounds tall rather than just spread on the right and your left. Like you actually can see the height and depth in front of you. Well, not see, but you know, just perceive things. Let's move on to the imaging. The imaging here is very precise, creating a genuine 3D space as well. While it's nothing crazy or like the crazy is the best imaging at this price range, obviously, sure, there are a lot of better competitors for this one in terms of imaging. By having a good or great imaging here and combining it with the treble extension that we have in the frequency response and combining it with the best soundstage, is just going to result in a great stereo separation and great layering that's just hard to describe, really. And I wasn't shy when I said this on Reddit last week. Sometimes I feel like I'm being touched from the right and left by, let's say, the OK Computer album. Like, it's very technical and things click perfectly where they're supposed to be in the mix, actually, especially if you know an album really well. The separation is amazing, especially in gaming as well, and also for music. In those busy tracks, for example, Giorgio by Daft Punk, at around the 8-minute mark when things get cluttery and everything and messy, I could hear every individual drum kit and things, you know, don't clutter over each other. I know the song so well, and this tri-bird implementation here just kind of had me enjoying every moment of that song. This is a must try. This is a must try, but still has a con. It has a con that I will mention in a second. That's why I'm going to bring out the Kiwi Ears Astral. So while these two sets are very similar in terms of the sound, the Astral has a bigger shell, honestly, less comfortable shell. Horizon is more comfortable. Astral is cheaper by $30, even though you can get both way cheaper in AliExpress Linsole page. But the Astral wins in terms of the bass. The bass on the Astral is just way rumbly, has better body, has better punch and everything. The Horizon bass, however, is very clean, very good quality, but it's just lacking. It's just lacking body here. This set sounds a little bit thinner than it should be. I think there was room to improve the bass on the one dynamic driver on this tri-bird implementation. Why is this part of video/gaming? Because the Horizon, while it has great imaging, perfect, the best soundstage I've heard on Valorant, to be honest with you, but the layering, something is wrong with this. Some footsteps sound kind of weird for gaming on the Horizon. That's why the Astral is just way superior. If you want a set that's all-rounder, you want to game more and listen to music as well, the Astral is just way better. If you want the very technical audio, the best stereo, high resolution audio, you go for the Horizon. You're going to get way better quality if you just listen to music. And if you know your music, if you know what you want. But if you're a bass head, don't get the Horizon. This is not for you if you're a bass head, man. But I just have to mention that you can't get the Horizon just for gaming. Just for gaming, get the Astral. For the best technical quality, the cleanest sound you will hear is on the Horizon, depending on the music as well. If you are a bass head by chance, you're gonna be left lacking on the Horizon. But this is genuinely the best sound quality I've heard at this price range. A big thanks again for Linsol for giving me the opportunity to review these and supporting my channel. That's why I want you guys to support me with a like. Also, check out their website in the description below. They had a huge sale, and I think they still have sales on these two IEMs. First link will be affiliated in the description below. And if you're still watching and you think you learned something from this video and haven't subscribed yet, you're probably just trolling, but it's fine. I don't do only IEMs. I review all sorts of computer gears like mice, keyboards, blah blah blah, so you have to stay tuned. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye bye.